This video is going to demonstrate how you can create a custom project property in order to parameterize a particular item of information in your project and use that in your content and also change it in different build profiles. So a common reason to do this might be something like a product name or the title of your documentation project that you want to parameterize in a way that's going to differ across different profiles and different outputs. So for example, if you're creating a professional edition and a standard edition of your product and you want to include that information in a way that's usable in your content and changes automatically for the different outputs that you're going to produce. So I've got the .NET sample project open here in DocumentX 2010, and the first thing I'm going to do is go into project settings and add a new custom project property for the value I want to parameterize. So it's automatically on the project properties page here for me. I'm going to click the new item button on the project property list, and I'm going to give the new property a name. So I'm going to call it product title, and I'm going to give it a description so I can recognize it when I come back in later down the line. Click OK, and that property gets added to the list. Now I can define in here a default value for this project property. So if I just want to override that in a particular output, I can define the default in here and just override it in a specific profile. So I'm going to give it a default value as RSS reader. Okay, so now I've defined that project property, what I can do is go into my individual build profiles here that I've already got set up to within this project, and I'm going to change the value of that project property in the different build profiles. So I've opened up the build profile editor by double clicking, and I'm going to choose the properties page in here, and I can see my custom project property listed here, and it's telling me that it's inheriting the value of this property from the project properties. So I'm just going to override that in here, and I'm going to call it standard edition. Okay, you can see that the property is now updated to show me that I can revert back to the project property default if I want to, so it's showing me that it's an overridden value. And if I go into the second project profile here, build profile, select the properties page, and in here I'm going to call that Enterprise Edition. Okay, so I've now created a custom project property. I've defined a different value for that project property in both of those build profiles. So if I now go into one of my topics, I can use that project property anywhere in my content just by surrounding the name of the project property with double % marks. So let's imagine that I want to say what is new in, and then use the product title that I've defined rather than just some static text. So I can see there in the editor, I can see immediately that that's a project property that I'm using, and if I switch to preview, I can see that it gets expanded to the value of that project property in that build profile. So just before I go any further, just to avoid confusion here, I reused this sample project. I'm going to rename these two profiles to reflect the fact that they're now for the standard and the Enterprise Edition in my walkthrough here. So I'm going to click on the wrench button on the tab here, and that tells me that I'm currently using the standard edition WYSIWYG profile, and if I switch to the Enterprise Edition and again switch to preview, I can see that's then expanded to the RSS Reader Enterprise Edition. And once again I'm going to switch back, and there we have it, RSS Reader Standard Edition. So the project properties you define can contain pretty much anything you want. So it could be things like author or version number. It's really up to you what you include in there, and they can be parameterized by overriding the values in the build profile editor, as I've demonstrated. So that concludes this short video on creating and using custom project properties.